I looked when he opened the sixth seal, and behold, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became like blood, and the stars of heaven fell to the earth, as a fig tree drops its late figs when it is shaken by a mighty wind. Then the sky receded as a scroll when it is rolled up, and every mountain and island was moved out of its place. And the kings of the earth, the great men, the rich men, the commanders, the mighty men, every slave and every free man, hid themselves in the caves and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, Fall on us, and hide us from the face of him who sits on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath has come, and who is able to stand? And so the sixth seal is opened, and I believe the rapture takes place at this event, on the sixth seal. And it says, Behold, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became like blood. This event is all at once. It's going to happen at a time no one expects. It's going to come as a complete surprise to the world, and it's going to come suddenly. Now, why do I think the rapture happens here? Because it says there was a great earthquake. And when you read through Revelation, when the gate of heaven is open, there is usually a parallel earthquake on the earth. Like the earth cannot handle the glory of God. So I believe that it's showing that the martyred receive their new bodies in the fifth seal. And when the sixth seal is opened, the rapture occurs. When the rapture happens, then it creates an earthquake on the earth, because the door of heaven is open. Now, when this happens, the sun becomes darkened, and the moon becomes like blood. The moon, it becomes a red moon. These are symbols for the world. These are ominous symbols for the world. And it shows that God's hedge of protection over the earth is taken away. So the sun becomes black as sackcloth. Now, what is a sackcloth? Sackcloth is like a piece of cloth that's very rough. It's usually made by goat's hair, and in those days the Jews will wear it as when it's a time of mourning or sadness or great depression, or for humility and surrender to God. It's a time where there's a lot of grief and a lot of sadness. What it best looks like is like the cloth or the sack that holds potatoes or coffee. That's the type of roughness and coarseness that sackcloth has. And this is what people would wear when they're in mourning. So when the sun becomes black as sackcloth of hair, it's symbolizing that this is going to be a time of great mourning and great sadness. And the moon became like blood. So in Jewish custom, when the sun is darkened, when there's an eclipse, it's usually a bad omen for the world. And when the moon is in an eclipse, or when there's a red moon, it's usually a bad omen for Israel. So what we're seeing here is that the sun is showing a bad omen for the world, and the moon is showing a bad omen for Israel. This is going to be a bad omen for the entire world. This is letting the world know that the hour of trial has begun, and it's going to be a time of great tribulation or great trouble for the entire world. So next it says that the stars of heaven fell to the earth as a fig tree drops its late figs when it is shaken by a mighty wind. So this is describing asteroids or meteors striking the earth. It'll be like a rain of meteors or asteroids hitting the earth. The entire earth will be bombarded by meteors falling everywhere. Now, why does it use the symbology of a fig tree dropping its late figs when it's shaken by a mighty wind? Well, that is describing the harvest of the fig fruit. Why are they using figs to describe an event of asteroids falling onto the earth? Is because it refers back to something that Jesus said in Matthew 24 verse 31. And he will send out his angels with a loud trumpet call, and they will gather his elect from the four winds, from one end of the heavens to the other. That's speaking of the rapture. Now learn the lesson from the fig tree. As soon as its branches become tender and sprout leaves, you know that summer is near. So also when you see all these things, you know that he is near, right at the door. It's saying that these events will not happen until the time is right. But you'll know when the time is coming near, like the way they used to know when summer was coming near. When they would see the fig tree sprouting leaves, they knew that the figs were going to sprout as well and be harvested sometime in the summer. So what we see when the meteors fall to the earth as figs is that this is the time of summer, where the ripe figs are ready to be harvested. This event is a sign that Jesus is returning soon for his harvest. And his harvest are the Jewish people and the ones that have passed the hour of trial. So when Jesus says, you'll know it's near, he's talking about you'll know the time is near when you see the leaves being sprouted. So when you see all the events that Jesus said was supposed to happen when he's speaking in the book of Matthew, when you see all these things happening and taking place, it's like seeing the leaves sprouting in the spring. You know it's coming near to the summertime. What it's saying here is that the stars of heaven falling to the earth, the asteroids falling to the earth, it's summertime. And the time that we're in now is the springtime. Right now we're seeing all the leaves, all the events converging, and we're supposed to know that this is going to happen very soon because we can see what's happening now. We can know that summer is near. The things that are happening right now are the leaves. And when the hour of trial happens, when these asteroids hit the earth, that's summer. At the end of the hour of trial comes harvest. And harvest is for the people that have passed the hour of trial and for the 144,000 Jews that receive the Holy Spirit and accept Jesus. So it continues, and because of these asteroids hitting the earth, the sky receded as a scroll when it is rolled up. So you know what a scroll looks like. It's like a book and you roll it up. And the clouds roll backwards like a scroll. And every mountain and island was moved out of its place. This event of the earthquake and the asteroids hitting the earth changes the geography of the planet. So the clouds disappear, the islands are moved out of its place, the whole geography of the earth is changed. Where if somebody were to look at a map of where something should be, if they look at it, it's not in that place anymore, it's somewhere else. Either because of the earthquake or the shaking of the asteroids hitting the earth, the tectonic plates of the earth, the tectonic points of the earth have shifted greatly. So it's saying that it's going to be so bad that everything is moved out of its place. Nothing is going to be in the same place anymore. And the kings of the earth, the great men, the rich men, the commanders, the mighty men, every slave and every free man hid themselves in the caves and in the rocks of the mountains. So this is kind of describing everyone in the world, whether they're in a place of authority or if they have a high class or status, all the way down to the lowest class or the poorest person. Everybody will be scared that this is the end of the world. When this is happening, everyone will think it's the end of the world. And it's because they say, "Fall on us and hide us from the face of him who sits on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb." So people will think that this event is the wrath of God. They'll want to have the mountains or wherever they're hiding collapse onto them so that they can be hidden or protected from the wrath of God. They'll try and hide themselves from God's judgment. They'll try and hide from these asteroids, and they'll think it's the wrath of God. So they think it's the wrath of God, or they think it's the end of the world, when in fact it's just a sign that the end has begun. It's a sign that the hour of trial has begun for those left on the earth. People on the earth will think that this is the worst event that has ever happened, but in reality, it's a sign that it's just beginning.